The contingency attorneys, how are they when they start their firm? How are they paying bills? I mean, if you got to get a whole pipeline of cases and then get a bunch of judgments to start collecting, how are you paying your bills in the meantime? So what I don't think a lot of people understand is the way some firms are set up. They have investors. This is a business. Those investors are floating the practicing attorneys. The big judgments come in. The firm gets paid, but the investors get paid as well. Can you kind of shed a little bit of light on how those firms are put together?
Do you mean like silent partner? So if you're
I'm calling a silent partner an investor. Yes.
Okay. So to be able to share in the fees, any kind of attorney fee, you have to be an attorney, and so it would be somebody that would probably be, I don't know, a named partner, like they're kind of on the back burner. But I think that I would be as worried about that. I don't know. I mean, I think you can cut both ways. I think it really depends on the firm and the firm culture. Like if they're going to do something really shitty to people and not care at all. There are some firms out there that they do care and they try to do what's best. And there's actually meetings and talks where they're like, hey, we've had some complaints. Like, how can we make things better for this person? That's a basic, and I'm kind of realizing as I'm saying this out loud, it's kind of the same with culture of large, like Fortune 500 companies. Like, you kind of see the difference between like Enron with like money,
Right.
or like Apple where they're like, hey, let's try to make the best possible product we absolutely can. Like, let's really try to kill it. Let's do the best we can. And so sometimes that's to the expense of the consumer, but really they're trying to focus on like, how can we make the best possible product we can? And so that's a good, I think it applies the same way to law firms. Like you can have there can be firms with partners out there that are not necessarily silent. I mean, their name would probably have to be on there, but like let's say a named partner that doesn't really do anything, they're kind of laid back, retired. Sometimes that can come with just grinding for years and years, and they've done everything. They've set up the system that works. But then there's some attorneys that are newer that are trying to expand as fast as they possibly can because they want to be a big name, they want to be a billionaire, they want to be $1 billion firm, something like that, that are expanding very quickly. Like, how can we make more money and cut costs or just get more in our pocket, and largely ambivalent about their client? And the stuff that I've heard and sometimes seen is pretty sad. I think that if it's a firm where they put the client first and they really try to make them better, like, do they have a soul?
Right.
That's a good starting point. Does this personal injury attorney have a soul? If they do, let's start talking. Let's sit down and see how much time and attention they give me. Do they seem like they have their stuff together? That's probably what I would do. Knowing what I know now, if I got injured and wanted to hire somebody other than myself, I would probably go contact several attorneys, see how fast they responded. Did they try to pressure me? Did they make me feel like I have to sign this right now? Did they get a hold of my contact information in some way that made me think for a second, like, wait, I got injured, and now all of my social media is popping up that, are you injured in an accident? You are? Oh, well, what? Imagine that happenstance. Here's my number.
Yeah.
You know, if you see something going on like that where you get a feeling that they are sort of, I mean, back in the day, it used to be ambulance chasers. They would literally chase ambulances. They would hear one, be like, "Oop, I gotta follow that one." And they'd follow it to the hospital, because if an ambulance is going to the hospital, it suggests at least that there's going to be severe injuries. And before all of our just real nasty ethical rules started preventing this kind of stuff, you should just kind of follow them to the hospital and be like, "Hey, saw that you're missing an arm. Do you know that this is a pretty serious thing that you could get compensated very well for?" And people would be like, "Well, I like money, and yeah, this really sucks really bad, and I'm kind of half drugged up, but I'll sign whatever documents you want." And so that stuff would happen. And so then came the term ambulance chaser. Then came a lot of, probably, I imagine, over amplified by the insurance companies who don't like personal injury attorneys. They're like, we need to stop these sharks from doing this.
I'm sure.
And so it was over amplified, but it did happen. And put all of our ethical rules to prevent that kind of stuff. And now it's something where they have to skirt around them in some way. Like, how can I figure out who was injured in this general vicinity without, and then show them an advertisement without actually approaching them and soliciting them? Like, let's see if there's been an or let's say anybody who went on Facebook in this hospital area, very narrow margin, let's show a bunch of advertisements to them really hard, put a lot of money in it. Like, that's an example off the top of my head. I don't even know if anybody's ever done that. I imagine if they haven't, they'll start doing it. But that's the kind of thing that you probably should be hesitant to think this guy's got my best interest if he's just trying to maximize the amount of horribly injured clients he's got without regard to who they are. I mean, there's some clients that would be very high paying for me, like for criminal defense or personal injury, and I don't take them because it's just not right for me. It's just not the right case. I don't think I'm the right attorney, but there are some that, get poached by other attorneys, and I'm just like, that's kind of gross doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.